Hello everybody, welcome back to my movie review series. Today we'll be discussing Drumline. Just finished watching it. You can watch it with a Hulu or a Disney Plus membership. So you know how we do it. Overall impressions are great after reading the logistics and basics about the movie as provided by Google. Then I'll give you my grade. If you have not seen the movie or would like to based off the brief introduction I give you, you're going to shut off the video. There will be spoiler alerts. We'll be discussing the plot synopsis and any character development, and any similar movies or major themes. So, this movie was released in 2002. It is rated PG-13. It is a romance/drama. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 58 minutes. Google says it's bold, uplifting, and sensational. Set against the high-energy, high-stakes world of show-style marching bands, Drumline is a fish-out-of-water comedy about a talented street drummer from Harlem who enrolls in a southern university, expecting to lead its marching band's drumline to victory. He initially flounders in his new world before realizing that it takes more than talent to reach the top. Did $57.6 million at the box office with a budget of $20 million, directed by Charles Stone III. 75% liked it on Google, 4 out of 5 on Common Sense, 82% liked it on Rotten Tomatoes, and 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb. What do I think about this one? I enjoy it. Again, it's fun, it's playful, it's cute. It's a, the really talented person story is kind of interesting to me. Again, I would never have some extreme talents at anything, but seeing other people, again, even in a fictional setting, it's fun. And the romance is cute. And so, I'm a fan of Nick Cannon as well. He's the star, or main, he plays Devin Miles. And so, overall, similar movies. I mean, this one came out to, Stomp the Artist, this so far has been our only A+ movie. Came out in 2007, so this one came out before then, but the plot lines and development of this one and Stomp the Art are pretty much identical. So what am I going to give this one? I like dancing a little more than marching band, but I'm going to give this one a solid A. So I definitely recommend this one, and it's playful, it's fun. It's the underdog kind of story, the street dude or the kind of the really talented off-the-wall guy versus the system. But it's playful and it's fun, and I find it enjoyable. So if you've not seen this one, I like this one. I can't give it the A+ like Stomp the Art, because dancing's a little better than marching band, even though I kind of do dance in a marching band as well. But overall, A. So if you've not watched it, would like to, you want to shut the video, there will be spoiler alerts. Movie opens up, Devin Miles, Nick Cannon, is graduating from high school. And they're at the graduation ceremony, and they're just walking across their diplomas, and he has a little, the seniors play a little prank on their director. So after that, he hugs with his mom, and then he goes in brief interaction with his dad, which I thought was thoroughly rich and funny, seeing the line that comes out there. So his dad's working as like a ticket stamp, or someone like lets you on, like sells you like train tickets or stamps your subway card or something to that effect. And Devin gets in the line, he goes up there, and he's is like doesn't have a relationship with his dad, so he's like he didn't invite him to his graduation. He just like says something to the effect of, I did it without you. I graduated. I'm not into drugs. I don't have a bunch of kids running around. Nick Cannon, come on, bro. No, that's cap, bro. Nick Cannon do be having lots of kids running around. Or maybe younger Nick Cannon didn't. But regardless, seeing Nick Cannon present that line was thoroughly funny to me. But regardless, he's just basically showing his dad that he did it without him. And so next, he's on a bus going to Atlanta A&T. They drive past the Morrison something. There's another purple school again. I forget the other school, but they drive past this other school, and again, the other school's been having more up-and-coming music, and they're kind of set in the past type of deal. And so you kind of meet a couple of the people. And Devin's a snare drummer. Ernest is a tuba player, or maybe drums. Charles, I think Charles is a tuba dude. Deirdre, she also might be a drummer, or she's like just like a bigger drummer. Jason Flores, your token white dude at the HBC. And like I said, I'm historically black myself. And again, I thoroughly we had a step line at our high school for 1 year, and then they canceled it, which was like the most flourishing sports program we had. So that was definitely a drag on our high school, just canceling the step team. But those are kind of the minor characters in the band as well. And so they get there, you meet the director, Dr. Lee, he controls the whole band. He's under President Wagner. Dr. Lee is kind of set back in more classical music. His characterizations, what's this hip hop stuff? This is 2002, so they're talking about like Snoop Dogg and getting crunk. But he's just set in his ways of more classical music, like Flight of the Bumblebee. And so they start doing their training, their practices. They call them crabs. They break off into the different sections. And Sean Taylor is the snare drum team lead. And so he immediately Devin has an attitude. Devin, to the first practice, shows up and doesn't wake up his roommate Ernest, so they'll have to do some laps. He's wearing black and everyone's supposed to be wearing white. And so they do that. They break off into sections and they start their training. And so also very quickly, Devin meets Layla, who is an upper class lady who is like on the dance team that's also with the band. So she's another cutie. But he approaches her briefly, gets her name and whatever. And so on the drum side, they do different drills. Pretty much immediately, Sean, has them like not looking down at their drums, and Devin shows them up on there, and then Dr. Lee comes over and has Devin do the same thing, but with walking, and Devin trips up, and I guess I don't know if it's real marching band, but they just play the same piece, and the first person to either miss the beat, miss the cadence, or drop their sticks loses. And so Devin gets shown up by Dr. Lee, and Dr. Lee's like, you have to learn to follow before you can lead. And so after that, they do some more drills, and blah blah blah. And so they get to the point where they're the scene where they're doing some physical conditioning, standing up in the rain, or doing wall squats in the rain. And Jason Flory gets asked why there's not enough black people in wherever he came from. Kind of a funny scene. But after they get through their training camp, the next days are auditions to see. They have the ranking is P1 through P4. I guess P1 is you're playing on the field and just a depth chart for marching band. But they getting asked. They're supposed to have read the rule book, and it gets to Devin, and Sean is asking him pop quiz questions about the rules. And Sean asks Devin what's the last rule in the rule book, and he doesn't know. And they all go another cutscene. They go back inside, and they have Devin read the last rule, and it says, "If you didn't read this rule book, your head will be shaved." And so Sean is going to shave Devin's head, and he leaves the chair. He's like, nah. And so Ernest is like, you're not going to really quit the team over your haircut, are you? And so the whole team's the band's excited for auditions or tryouts the next day. And Devin, his cornrows, and he puffs it out to a fro, and then comes back with the hair clippers, and they all go crazy, and they shave his head. And so they have a couple other scenes with eating at a pizza shop, and blah blah blah. And so the auditions come up, and the upperclassmen sit up in the car. They honk their horn after the freshmen auditions to see which P1 through P4 they should be on. And so you have a couple auditions, and Devin goes. He does the piece perfectly without looking down, and Sean's like, why aren't you looking down? Leans over to the other auditioners, judges. Why aren't you looking down? It's an audition piece. Blah blah blah. But then regardless, the upperclassmen give him a honk for a P1. And so the next day, the things get posted. This depth chart gets posted, and Devin makes P1. And so he's the only freshman. He's all excited. And so now they're preparing for their first performance. And so Sean plays the piece that they have to learn in a week or two, and Devin is able to play it immediately after Sean plays it, basically just flexing that he can get it done, he can play it by ear. And so the first game rolls around, and they're all excited. And Devin and Sean, have Sean's the upperclassman that's jealous of Devin's skills, the younger guy. And Devin's giving Sean some lip. And Sean's like, if you want the solo so bad, you can have it, saying that because he's never been in front of a crowd, he's going to mess up and freeze. And so they do their performance. The solo part comes. Devin does freeze at the beginning. Sean steps out and starts doing the solo. Then Devin steps out side by side with him, playing the same thing, and then steps in front of him and freestyles. And once the band cuts it off, he does a little 10-second freestyle and finishes it off. And so Dr. Lee is pretty furious with both Sean and Devin. But President Wagner, who's wanting, Dr. Lee, your program's not going to be here next year if you don't spice it up. President Wagner loves it, so Dr. Lee's kind of in a rock and a hard place. The president loves it, but he's very angry with what happened, and so blah blah blah. Also, Jason Flore, who was a P2, he got challenged, and I guess you can challenge in the movie. They can challenge for a position right before a placement. And so Jason gets taken off from the line and it gets back to a P3 or something. And so it kind of just minor developments. But after that, again, Dr. Lee has Sean polish all the drums, and Sean had made Devin polish all the drums before. And so Dr. Lee's kind of more mad at Sean, I guess, than Devin. And so a couple other things go by. They're preparing to Devin and Layla are definitely kind of flirting. Devin, trolls her at one of her dancing things and gets her name, and they're kind of flirting in just the libraries and whatever. And so, regardless, homecoming comes around, and they play some School in the Red. They do their different performances, and Devin's supposed to meet Layla's parents now, but after the scheduled performances, they just kind of like a freestyle battle, and Devin starts playing, they just go back and forth, and Devin starts playing on another dude's drums and starts a fight. And so after that, the whole crew get very similar to Stomp the Yard, where DJ tries to show out at the neophytes versus the pro fights battle. The whole team is kind of mad at Devin now, and blah blah blah. But I guess actually before this, Sean had put a piece in front of Devin to basically prove that he can't read music. And so one of the rules to be on the band, you have to be able to read music. And so Devin is supposed to take some classes to be able to read music, to mix up the order in the scenes. But he gets called out for not being able to read music. And so after the homecoming game, he basically gets kicked off the line again. Because for not being a team player, starting fights, and not knowing how to read music, and whatever. And so he's off the music team for now. He's got a strained relationship with Layla. His dad sends him some more cassette players of his old music or drums, and just some more things to inspire him. And so basically, Devin he goes into the drum hall at one point, or just like the band practice room, and they have like a tape recorder to print out the sheet music of whatever you're playing. And so Devin and Sean Taylor have it out a little bit, and kind of this, they finally break the beef. They do another challenge, and Sean's like, "Yeah, you're the best." And they go both kind of like reconcile and be kind of friendly. And so then Sean and Devin go into Dr. Lee's office, and Dr. Lee's like, or Sean's like, "Look at these cadences Devin put together. Can we compose some stuff for the classic, which is the big competition at the end of the movie?" And so now they're kind of working together, getting along, going through practice and whatnot. Devin approaches, because after the fight, or one time, Director Wade from this Morrison, the competing college, approaches Devin's like, if you ever need to play for a real band, you can come on over here. And so Devin asks Dr. Wade if he can get a scholarship there, if he can play with his band next year, and Dr. Wade's like, sure. And then the next scene with Director Wade, he's like, so what can you tell me about what Dr. Lee is preparing for the classic battle this year? And so Devin's kind of disgusted that Dr. Wade wants him to cheat like that. So he just says, I hope Dr. Lee wipes the floor with you guys. And so he's back at Texas A&T, or Atlanta A&T, and he's kind of giving Layla a cold shoulder, and they're kind of just not on the greatest of terms. And so regardless, the classic rolls around, or no, I forget what's going on, but there's another scene where basically Devin and Layla do make up before the end of the classic, and so might be missing a couple scenes. Regardless, the classic rolls around, and Devin's still not allowed to be on the team, but he's been doing a lot of work with the band, and so Dr. Lee is like, we'll let you, we'll let you back on the band next year. And so they have their big battle with the other school. The other school brings out a rapper, which was not, I forget the rapper's name, I don't know if it was a real rapper or not, but he was not entertaining. But I actually kind of enjoyed the actual marching band music. But regardless, that's what happens. I mean, but this movie came out before Stomp the Yard, so I guess I gotta say Stomp the Yard is very similar to this one. But they have, again, two-way tie between the two teams that are right next to each other that have been competing for years. And so Dr. Lee is like to Devin, hey, would you want to show him what you're going to be giving him all next season as long as it's cool with Sean? And so now they let Devin back in for the final battle. So they do the final battle, and they win. And so that's really the resolution of the movie. Again, so similar to Stomp the Yard. Again, yes, Stomp the Yard is so similar to Drumline. But overall, I enjoyed it. It's fun, it's playful, it's cute. The underdog story, the bad boy or whatever, the outcast getting some success. So overall, I enjoyed it. Thank you for watching another movie review, and I will see you on the next one.